The curious case of Lecce Juve, the one of 2 years ago on the 29th of October 2022, and the one of today on the 1st of December 2024, well, these games, before playing it, have a lot of similarities when preparing the game. You will be totally shocked when I will reveal you the big huge similarity between today and 2 years ago. Pay attention, follow the channel. Ciao Juventini of the world, my name is Giuseppe, welcome back on the channel, I hope you're all doing well. Look, before starting speaking and entering in the most important thing, the game of today, because there are 3 points that we need to grab and to bring home in Torino, let me tell you that on Thursday we might have here on the channel a really beautiful surprise. We will go live for the draw, because the Club World Cup will be there. We will know who we will play against. Yesterday we were waiting for the team number 32, that is Botafogo, because they won yesterday the Copa Libertadores. Now that we know the 32 teams, well, we know, there will be the draw on the 5th of December. It will be on Thursday. I can't wait. You know, it's a competition that I can't wait to play, to participate, and hopefully we can go all in until the end, because Juventus, respecting the story of being the first team to win all the trophies, if we can repeat it, it would not be bad. When I'm telling you a surprise, the surprise is not that we will go live for the draw, but we are working on something on the channel. If it happens, guys, I can tell you that it will be a really beautiful gift for you, the people of the channel, but also for me, because it will be something great. I can't reveal too much, so wait, put a notification ring on, and while you're doing it also, put a maximum of like. Don't forget to subscribe, because now we enter in Lecce Juve. When I tell you that there are a lot of similarities between two teams, when I was starting to study to prepare the game, of course, I went back to last year, I went back to 2 years ago, and when I was watching the one of 2 years ago, well, there was something that was ringing the bell. And I was immediately looking at the missing players, the absence, and there were 10 players in that game that were missing. Chiesa, Caio Jorge, Pogba, Ake, De Sciglio, Di Maria, Angel, Bremer, it's not the first time that he's missing Lecce Juve, Leandro Paredes, Dusan Vlahovic, same as Bremer, and Manu Locatelli. Manu Locatelli was the only one that was not injured, but he was banned, he couldn't participate to that game. 10 players were missing from that game, from Lecce Juve of the 29th of October 2022. And if we're looking at the situation today, well, we see that 9 players are missing. Adzic, Milik, Bremer, Cabal, Nico Gonzalez, Douglas Luiz, Weston McKennie, Dusan Vlahovic again, and Nico Savona, the last one that joined that list of injuries. So 9 players missing is a lot. A unicum, well, when you are missing 9 first team players, you should say, yes, it is a unicum. I don't remember when it happened, or when it happened, it was like, you know, you need to go to Opta Stats to remember yourself that it was like 15, 20, 30 years ago. And no, it already happened 2 years ago with even more players that were not available to travel to Lecce. Disaster situation 2 years ago, disaster situation now, it is, absolutely, but it's a game that we must win. It's a game that we must win. If we're looking at the 2 lineups, the one of 2 years ago and the one that is predicted for today, I can already tell you that the lineup of today should be stronger on paper, at least the starting lineup, than the one of 2 years ago. Looking at 2 years ago, what do we see? We see a 4-4-1-1, or maybe it was a 3-5-1-1, with Szczesny into the goal, Quadrado, Gatti, Danilo, Alexandro, Mattias Soulé, Weston McKennie, Rabiot, and Filip Kostic, and then as an unusual number 10 was Fabio Miretti, with on top Arkadiusz Milik. Comparing with the predicted lineup of today, what do we see? Perini into the goal. I will come back on the lineups later. Danilo, Kalulu, Gatti, and Cambiaso, Locatelli, Thuram, Conceição, Koopmeiners, Yildiz, and Timo Weah. Well, if you are taking both of the lineups, we can say, oh, today we are even stronger. Stronger than 2 years ago, where we were missing 10 players. Today we are missing 9 players. So we need to go there, we need to win, because 2 years ago, we won 1-0 out of home. It was a difficult game. A difficult game that was solved by a player that today will be again on the bench. I will tell you later, even if you already know and you already guessed that it's Nicolo Fagioli. What is actually making Juventini extremely angry? It's the fact that our players, they disappear at a certain moment. It's not only the injuries, because injuries happen in every single team. The problem is that Juventus communication on the injuries, they wait a bit and then they do the test at J Medical, and then they come out with a public report telling us he will miss 1 game, he will miss the entire season, he will miss, we don't know, because there is nothing, and we need to monitor day by day. But there is no follow-up anymore, and that's where Juventini got totally lost. For example, Douglas Luiz. before the game of Champions League against Stuttgart, if I'm not wrong, I can be wrong, he stops. He stops on time. We're all relieved because we were seeing he's just missing one game. Luckily, he stopped on time before making it really worse, and then we don't see him anymore. Nico Gonzalez, a small injury. He needs 2-3 weeks, and then we don't see him anymore. I believe it's already 9 games, 10 games that we don't see him anymore. And we don't know when they will come back. Exactly the same as Dusan Vlahovic. There is nothing for Dusan Vlahovic. Luckily, there is no injury, and he's already missing his 3rd game. We're already thinking that maybe he can travel with the team to Birmingham for the Champions League game, at least on the bench, surely against Lecce. He's not there, and we don't know if he will be there against Bologna, like Weston McKennie. And that's something that is making all of us extremely angry, extremely worried. We don't know. If there is a player that is disappearing, we don't know. Nicolo Fagioli, the same, huh? There is nothing. He stopped on time. Oh, he's already missing the game of Lecce today. So that's something that Juventus really need to work on. 2 years ago, but also now. For the people with a short memory that are defending always whatever Thiago Motta is doing, not that much because they like Thiago Motta, but because actually they want to attack the ex-coach Massimiliano Allegri, saying, but Thiago Motta, what can he do? What can he do? He has no players, which is totally correct. Guys, it is correct. It's not an alibi. It's not an excuse. It's totally correct. It's difficult for Thiago to work with the players at disposal. But 2 years ago, it was exactly the same thing. Exactly the same thing. 2 years ago, we won 1-0 with the goal of Nicolo Fagioli. Hopefully, we can do the same. Hopefully we can win today. When I'm saying hopefully, we must win. We are obliged to it also because yesterday Milan won 3-0 against a really bad Empoli. A really bad Empoli. But Milan yesterday, it's true, there was a lot of fog, but they won 3-0. So today we have no other result than the victory. Look, Nicolo Fagioli started on the bench on the 29th of October 2022. It was a Nicolo Fagioli that was not really happy. I remember because he didn't play that much in the beginning of the season. There were already some voices of Mercato out for Nicolo, and then he enters at the 46th minute in a really tough game, and he solved it with a goal alla Del Piero against Lecce, his first goal in Serie A with the Bianconeri. It was a really beautiful goal, and from that moment on, he starts to do fantastic, beautiful performance. Paris Saint-Germain, a week later, the goal against Inter, and that's where Nicolo, for the remaining part of the season, becomes un beniamino, a love, how can I say, a fan favorite, that's the good word, a fan favorite of all the Juventini. So hopefully Nicolo can enter and do it. If it's not Nicolo Fagioli, we need to think about the other young players, because we have a lot of young players. We have a lot of baby players on the bench. Well, Nicolo, that's what I hope, because again, we are 2 years later and there are again a lot of voices of Mercato out. Giuntoli that is thinking to put him on the market, Thiago Motta that is even agreeing with him. He didn't say it, but if you're looking at the last 6 games, I believe that he played in all competition like 20 minutes in total, which are absolutely not a lot for Nicolo. And how he entered the last game that we played against Aston Villa, at a certain moment totally sleeping. It's true that he's also confirming that probably there are a lot of voices around him that are actually putting him in a moment of difficulty. He has the destiny in his hands. That's what I'm always saying. You know, at a certain moment, you can change the destiny. Sometimes it looks like everything is written, that everything is already agreed, that there is no other solution. You can change them. You can change them, and today, if he enters or if he plays from the beginning of the game, well, I'm expecting from Fagioli a performance a la Lecce Juve from 2 years ago. Who is also knocking at the door? It's Perin. Perin, we know it. There are always that rotation between goalkeepers. There are a few games that he didn't play, 2-3 games already that he didn't play. It could be that Perin plays today. Perin or Di Gregorio, I always told you I'm okay with the goalkeepers that we have at the moment. That's not really my problem. And then there is also Mangula that is also knocking at the door because he's asking for a bit more minutes because we didn't see him a lot in the last few games. On top of that, I wanted to go towards the tactic to analyze the game. Inside Lecce Juve, I tell you, it's extremely difficult. Not only because Juventus is missing 9 first-team players, not only because the bench of Juve is a real question mark, but also because Lecce changed coach. They went back to an ex-coach of Serie A. Giampaolo, that coached Milan. I don't know if you remember. He came last week, already won one game against Venezia, even if they didn't play that well. It was a lucky 1-0, but it was a 1-0, an important one. So it's difficult to analyze a team without a lot of certainties. One thing I can tell you is that also there they have an extremely young player that is doing well. It is also on that list of Cristiano for the future. It is Dorgo. Dorgo, that is a really fantastic player. Born in 2004, 3 goals already. He's the youngest player born in 2004 with already 3 goals, except the fact that he's one player that is even younger than him in Serie A that scored more goals, and he's born actually, not the same goals, but he's born actually 1 year later. And we are speaking about Kenan Yildiz, our Kenan Yildiz. But he will not be the youngest one. He will not be the only one that is young today, because Tuttosport is opening with La Signora con I Bambini, the old lady with the young kids. You're looking at the 5 players that yesterday were called up by Thiago Motta. Diego Pugno, that is 18, Owusu, 19, we have Pagnucco, 18 years old, 20 years old for Papadopoulos, and then we have 17 years old for Alfonso Montero. But it's not only, if you're looking at all the young kids, on top of the one that I just mentioned, we have, and don't forget about them, Rui, 20 years, 19 years old for Yildiz, Conceição, that is still 21 years old, Bangula, 20, and we are missing even Nicolo Fagioli, that is, Nicolo Savona, sorry, that is 21. So extremely young Juventus, probably the youngest Juve ever, if we are taking everything into consideration, the 11 starters plus the players on the bench. I never watched or saw that young Juve. Who knows if it will be Fagioli coming from the bench and scoring that victory goal, or one of these guys. I would be extremely happy for all of them, you know it. Diego Pugno, you know that I have a small feeling for him. I like Diego Pugno, 18 years old. If you could enter and score, mamma mia. Then, of course, you have that beautiful romantic story, of course. Alfonso Montero. I'm not even saying scoring, but just him entering. And if it could be, and I would love it, simultaneously with on the field also Weah, Thuram, and Conceição, I would be, mamma mia. Bring Beppe back to the 90s. Bring Beppe back to the year 2000 when I was a kid, when I was a young kid watching Serie A, watching actually their fathers. Montero and Thuram played at Juve, Weah played at Milan, Conceição played at Parma, Lazio, and another team that I don't want to mention because I love my Sunday and I don't want to ruin it. Oh, if we can have them, all of them, on the same moment on the field, I would be so happy. Because it's beautiful, because it's romantic, because that's what you actually speak about. That's why we love football, for these beautiful stories. Anyway, ragazzi, we see each other for the pre-game, the watch-along, and then the post-game of Lecce Juve. Yes, I am still sick. Yes, I'm not 100%, but we will do it because we need to show the support to our guys. Grazie, forza, Juve. Ciao.